What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of Real Conservative Talk, and I'm here with the new co-host, Zach Lopez. What's up, Zach?
What's going on, guys?
So, I'm sure a lot of you have heard that song, that new Let's Go Brandon song, #1 hit in the country right now on iTunes. So, that's actually pretty funny. Imagine, well, let's think about it. Joe Biden said he was going to unite the country, and damn if he isn't. Not in the way he expected, but he's uniting us, because I think like 70% of the people disapprove of the job that he's doing now, and good for him. Hell, if someone made a song about my name, Zach, like that, I'd try to get some royalties off of it.
I mean, I don't know. I can't remember what Brandon's actual last name is. The NASCAR driver that they're
not him. I'm talking about, but he's saying fuck Joe Biden in it.
No, I know what you're talking about, but I'm just saying the NASCAR racer Brandon. I mean, I don't know if he's getting anything off this song, because technically speaking, it is his name.
Yeah, well, they weren't ever saying his name though.
Oh no, I know that.
Yeah,
I know that. I was there.
Yeah,
I heard it in real life.
That's all right. Well, not so much a lot of topics to talk about. In fact, it's really one or two specific ones I want to talk about, Zach. But it's going to go really in depth. And I have a lot to say. And guys, I've been at Zach's house for a couple hours now. And yes, I did some of my own work. Zach was hardened to his job. But I did a lot of research and put some things together. Zach does not have any idea on some of the details I'm going to express or go over. But we're going to get his opinion and see if I can explain it to you guys in a great way. I think it's going to be pretty eye-opening, though. So, I'm sure a lot of you have heard that Coach Nick Rolovich from Washington State University, the head coach of the football team, along with 4 other assistant coaches, have been fired due to not being vaccinated. This is a part of the federal vaccine mandates. Nick Rolovich was the highest-paid Washington State employee. I think like $3 million a year or something like that. I'm not sure if they're going to have to do a buyout for his contract. If they did, though, think about this, Zach. If they had to do a buyout for firing him for not being vaccinated, and let's say, I would imagine it's more than $3 million, that's the financial burden of releasing that one guy. I mean, we're talking about multiple millions of dollars.
Oh, 100%.
That's a statement being made.
Yes, it is some type of statement.
Well, obviously, Washington, very liberal state. In fact, I think they're like one of the strictest as far as enforcing this vaccine mandate. The school itself says that if you're not vaccinated, you're not going to work for them. Apparently, 90% of the workforce at Washington State Washington State University, that is, has been vaccinated, and like 97% of the student body. What I want to know, though, is are they firing tenured professors? I'm not sure if they would be able to.
I doubt they would, because they can't mess with tenure with teachers. I guess I don't really know how it works.
So you're going to fire a coach with a multiple $1 million buyout, as opposed to firing one little tenured professor making like $100,000 a year.
Yeah, but you've got to also remember how certain places view sports versus academics.
So
I mean, it is academics before sports. We all know this.
You're right.
Student athlete.
Now, I think to an extent, let me hit on that argument real quick though, because a lot of revenue that the school uses for academics derives from the football program specifically.
You're not wrong.
Yeah,
you're not wrong.
That's why these head coaches make so much money. In fact, like I said, Nick Rolovich was the highest paid state employee. Now, Coach Rolovich applied for a religious exemption. I have been reading law all day, and I'm going to kind of go attorney on everyone, at least how I perceive law. I'm kind of I am a constitutionalist. I think everyone should be. But he applies for a religious exemption. And in the article, Zach, it says that he was denied, but they have approved religious exemptions for a few other people. They didn't specifically state who or what the basis was of their approval, but my thought, and you tell me if you agree, is if they're going to deny everyone, that's fine. If they're going to approve everyone, that's fine. But how can you deny, like, let's say a Christian, and then approve like a Muslim or a Jew? Because based on the law, the government can't like interfere with certain things. They're not allowed to dictate what is religious or second guess religion. Okay. Would it not be prejudice or discriminatory to approve someone on the basis of one religion but not another?
With the way you put it like that, it would be. But my problem is that I didn't read that, so I don't. I would need to know all the details behind it.
Well, that's all it says. That's the general census of the article. All it had said in the article that I read was literally that he applied for a religious exemption, was denied. Okay, but that the state has approved other religious exemptions for some individuals. So I guess what I'm just getting at is, if you're approving it for, like, let's take you and I, okay? I get approved for whatever my religious reason is. You apply for a religious exemption, and you get denied. It's still a religious reason, regardless of whatever it is, right? If you're applying for a religious reason, I don't know what he put on the paper. You know, I don't know what his justification was, or how far you have to actually go to justify that you get a religious exemption. But I think that the government's going to run into a lot of big problems as this draws on, and they start picking and choosing who they're going to grant these exemptions to.
I agree with you.
You see what I'm saying? Because more of these cases are going to become common.
And it's still, that's a tough road to go down even still. Because, and I'm going to be very careful with what I say, but.
Well, don't be careful. That's the whole point of the show, is freedom of speech.
No, I know that. But my knowledge on the whole religious exemption aspect of law, period, is very minimal, because I've never read into it.
Okay.
Because I normally don't need to use it. I'm a religious person. Don't get me wrong. I was born and raised Catholic. I've been Catholic my whole life.
Yeah.
But it would not be right for any government in the United States, any state, to say, hey, I'm going to grant your religious exemption, but I'm not going to grant yours. And I'm not going to bring a specific religion into it. But to deny one person based off of the same information, if you deny one and allow the other, then you're going to have issues. You're going to have a lot of issues.
Well, so, and guys, this is what you're hearing from Zach. Like, he may be broad, but he's actually giving you like a very personal preference, because he literally has not looked into any of this. I'm the one that's done the research on this, so I'm literally hitting him off guard with this stuff. But to hit on what you said, as far as denying one, not denying the other, I was reading. It was from a legal dictionary, and it says that the government cannot do anything that advances one religion or discriminates against a religion, right? Or be neutral on it. Like, it can't get involved. Well, if you are, if one person is applying for a religious exemption and they are not being approved, but another person is being approved, theoretically, you're either advancing or discriminating, right? Someone, either or, whichever way it goes. I think that it's a broad legal definition, but I did find one that I think this is what they're using to make these vaccine mandates constitutional under the Constitution, and that is that, let me find it here on my notes. It says, all right, so I'm going to read the whole paragraph. The free exercise clause guarantees a person the right to practice a religion and propagate it without government interference. This right is a liberty interest that cannot be deprived without due process of law. Although the government cannot restrict a person's religious beliefs, it can limit the practice of faith when a substantial and compelling state interest exists. The courts have found that a substantial and compelling state interest exists when the religious practice poses a threat to the health, safety, or welfare of the public. For example, the government could legitimately outlaw the practice of polygamy that was formerly mandated by the doctrines of the Church of Jesus Christ of the Latter-day Saints, but it could not outlaw the religion or belief of Mormonism. So what they would say then in that case is that not taking the vaccine is a public safety concern, right? Because...
Yeah, but that was the argument in the beginning.
Okay, this is where you and I talked about this a little bit earlier, about it being a public safety concern. Here's my thought, and I think you agree with me. And I've said this on here before. If you get a vaccine, okay, especially with this vaccine, you can still get COVID. If you get COVID and you're vaccinated, it doesn't make you less contagious. You're still giving it. And you're still giving the same virus, not a lesser form of the virus, to my understanding, when you have it.
The only thing it does for you is it lessens your symptoms.
Exactly. So the only person that it's fucking affecting is you. Okay? So the only person that is at fault and shares the burden is you individually. Furthermore, we don't mandate the flu shot. The flu shot doesn't completely eradicate the flu. You can still get the flu when you have a flu shot. What's it do? It maybe lessens the burden or reduces the...
Well, when you get the flu shot, they're giving you the flu so that your body can fight the flu so that you don't get the flu.
Well, I think that one of the vaccines uses the same concept. The other ones don't. They use that mRNA, whatever. I'm not getting into the science. I'm not a scientist, okay? What I'm saying is that it's a different virus, but it's the same concept because with the COVID shot, you can still get COVID with breakthrough cases, okay? With the flu shot, same thing. We don't mandate the flu shot. Why? We have shut down in Tennessee. We have school shut down because so many kids get the flu. You would think they would mandate that, right? But they don't. And I'm sure if I dig deep enough, there's probably either a religious reason or some kind of reason against the Constitution regarding that. Other vaccines, smallpox, chickenpox, polio, all that eradicates the virus completely. Completely gets rid of it. All right? So it's a little bit different than the COVID vaccine and the flu shot. Now, I'm not against getting vaccinated. I am fully vaccinated. And I want to say this. Now, here's a good example between me and Zach. Zach just recovered from COVID last week. Literally, just recovered from COVID. I'm at his house. What I say to you, what I asked yesterday, I think it was you or Katie. I was like, well, I hope he cleaned up. You know, I don't want to catch COVID because he's got his dirty hands from when he had COVID. Zach was not... he didn't care. Like, he's already got it and recovered. You have no concern of getting the virus right now.
Not even close.
Yeah. But me, because even though I'm vaccinated, I'm in my head, I'm like, well, there's a chance that I can get COVID. I have more of a fear of getting COVID than Zach does. And he's not vaccinated, but he recovered from the virus.
Right. So now I have natural immunity.
Exactly.
My body did what it was built for.
Exactly. Right. You know that, like, fuck, it's only been a week. I'm not getting COVID again. You know you're not going to get COVID again.
Yeah.
Otherwise, people for the last year would have been getting COVID, then recovering, then getting COVID immediately right after, but they haven't been.
Now, I will say this.
Okay.
I will say this. I've heard of a few stories where people have gotten COVID naturally without being vaccinated, recovered, and then gotten it again. Granted,
How long after?
I don't remember the time frame, but when they got it the second time, it wasn't as bad.
Okay, yeah,
So-
I'm not saying people haven't gotten it twice. I'm saying like within a month they haven't gotten it, or 2 months or 3 months.
Oh yeah,
Right? So that's the thing.
right.
But me being vaccinated at any point afterwards, I can get it. Doesn't matter if it's a month after being vaccinated, whatever. I can get it, okay?
Right.
Then I read that article today, and I put a link in here that I found on DuckDuckGo about how the United Kingdom is actually finding that you have a better chance of having a serious case if you're vaccinated than if you're not vaccinated. We're not going to go into the details of that, but I'm going to put the link there so everyone else can read it. It's pretty interesting. But with the Nick Rolovich thing, we discussed that. If they are now firing people, they are now following through with these vaccine mandates and firing people. They're not going to stop. Now they're actually saying, we're going after everyone that doesn't have the vaccine. Zach, I went through today and pulled up some labor statistics. And all these statistics, people, are off the government websites. In fact, I found them on Google, not DuckDuckGo. So these are front page, Department of Labor or Bureau of Labor Statistics.gov. Okay? The federal government, state government, and local government, there are approximately 21 million jobs. Actually, it's more like 22 million, but let's say 21 million jobs, okay? Of that, 18.1% are filled by black workers. And when I'm saying black, I'm talking about they claim that they are black, they are not mixed race, they're not something else, these aren't people of color. I'm just talking about black people, fully black. 18.1%. That's 3.8 million jobs. If you look at the vaccination rates across the United States, 56% of white people, let me make sure I'm saying that right. Where's it at? 54% of white people are vaccinated. And 46% of black people are vaccinated. Now, on the news, you would hear that this is a Trumpism issue or a conservative issue, that the Republicans and the conservatives are not getting the vaccine. They're denying the vaccine because of political reasons, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But it's the right that's not getting the vaccines. But Biden got the majority of the black vote. And the majority of black people are not vaccinated. So it's not a right-wing thing. It's an overall general population thing that people have their personal reasons for not getting the vaccine. So if 46% of black people are vaccinated, that means 54% aren't. If 54% of the black population isn't vaccinated, if we use those same numbers and look at how many black people are employed by the government itself that these mandates would apply to, a larger percentage of the black population is employed by the government than anywhere else. The black population in the United States is about 13.4%, and they employ the population of government employees is 18.1% black. So 3.8 million jobs or 3.8 million black people work for the federal government or all governments. If the mandates are enforced fully, that means that roughly 2 million black people are at risk of losing their job. 2 million black people. There's 44 million black people, a little over 44 million black people in the United States, which means that 4.5% of the black population, of the total black population, could become employed by the mandates. But what you have to look at is it's not based off the unemployment isn't based off the full population. It's only based off of the people that are actually employed or looking for work. You have to be in the labor force. So that as far as the black labor force is concerned, only 20 million black people are included in that number. There's 20 million black people roughly in the labor force in the United States. That's 10% of the fucking population, of the black population, that would be at risk of being unemployed due to the mandates if they choose not to get vaccinated for whatever personal reason. And I think, in my opinion, they have the right to do that. They have the right to not take the vaccine. 10%, Zach. 8.8% is already unemployed. So Joe Biden and his Biden administration that's so fucking inclusive, right, and all about equity and equality and all this shit, is risking almost 20% of the black population being unemployed. Is this not fucking mind-blowing? 20 fucking percent. There wasn't even 20% unemployment amongst the black population in the height of the lockdowns and COVID, Zach. That means Trump, while Trump is in office, dealt with a full shutdown almost in the United States with a pandemic, the start of a pandemic when everyone was sitting at home, Zach, and had potential and will potentially still have better employment rates than Joe Biden will. And Joe Biden's talking about creating jobs and has a full running economy. All because of a fucking vaccine mandate that doesn't prove to benefit anyone other than the individual choosing to take the vaccine or not take it. 20 fucking percent. This isn't including all the jobs with the white people that are employed by the government or the Hispanics. I just looked at the black. It was easier to just pick out one race and do it because there's, like with Hispanics, they have a lot of variables on who's Hispanic and blah, 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 right? And I just wanted to point out that the fucking Biden administration is not caring about the race thing and all the equity shit. They don't give a shit. They don't. The fact is they spend all this money on the vaccine. They want you to have it. Like I said before, it's like, we cooked this dinner. You're going to fucking eat it. I don't care if it's burnt and tastes like shit. So, I guarantee you, if that, let's say that happens, to the extreme, and 20% of the black population is unemployed, or labor population is unemployed, plus all the other jobs, right? What do you think the Biden administration is going to do the next time that the next month when the jobs report comes out, Zach? Here's what they're going to say: our economy is doing great. We've created 10 million jobs this month. You didn't create shit. You opened up 10 million jobs because you fired every fucking person.
Well, but then you also have to remember that falls into kind of what they're wanting. They don't want people to work. They want people to be at home. Taking money from who?
The government. But they don't have anything in place that's going to give them any. Well, they have the unemployment thing. That's it.
What else do they need?
Well, that's how they're going to raise the debt ceiling, because the debt ceiling takes care of like prior funding, not new funding, right? So I think all that would fall under these social insurance programs we talked about yesterday. That's mind-blowing. 20%. That's not the most racist shit that I've seen, like on paper with numbers. And I'm literally just using statistics and math on the shit that the statistics that the Department of Labor and Bureau of Labor Statistics has on their website. And I've posted links to all the sites that I got the numbers from. So we have an issue of the religious issues, right, that I think are going to have people facing a lot of lawsuits. What they're going to have to do is people are going to have to apply for these religious exemptions and hope that they get them. So, then you're going to run into them discriminating and picking and choosing. But here's the thing: is it's not a right wing problem that's denying the vaccine. We already know this. It's an every person problem. It doesn't matter if you're a Democrat, Republican, blah, blah, blah. Some people just don't want to take it. Zach didn't want to take it, which is fine. I chose to take it because my doctor made me kind of feel bad about it, and it is what it is. I'm vaccinated, whatever. I haven't gotten COVID. I hope I don't. Maybe I will. Whatever. I don't know. But with 20% of just one race, we're not talking like the amount of jobs, and then what the only reason I'm willing to put these numbers on paper and talk about it, because there's an article saying that in Chicago they're looking to get rid to dropping 3,200 police officers, which is 1/3 of the Chicago police force.
You mean what's left? In Chicago, haven't they already lost majority of their police force?
I don't know how much they've lost. They may have lost a lot. I don't know how much they've lost already, like due to all the other bullshit they have, right? But I know that the 3,200 of whatever they have now, okay, is at risk of losing their job. A lot of it's because they didn't talk to the unions and negotiate with the unions before enacting a lot of this shit. So you have that whole other issue I'm not even going to get involved with. But imagine if Chicago gets rid of 3,200 police officers. We're talking about the most dangerous city in the United States. So based on my religious definition about, they can go against religion if it's like a public safety concern. Is the government not fucking creating a public safety concern in the city of Chicago by willing to fire 3,200 police officers when they're already shorthanded? And by not, let's say all of them did apply for a religious exemption, they denied them all. That's a big public safety concern. So they're actually creating one. Not getting a vaccine is not a public safety concern. It's a you safety concern. I'd rather have unvaccinated cops and nurses and doctors than call 911 and say, well, hold on, let's wake someone up at their fucking house because they're off duty, and have them drive 45 minutes. Sorry, I already got the gun out. I mean, like, the common sense and the logic.
There is none. And we all know that.
There's not.
There's none.
It's bullshit, dude. It's just getting worse. It's going downhill. And Brandon can't get his shit together. Now, fucking Brandon. Motherfucker. Like, dude. I hope I'm going to start sending this to religious groups, like my notes here. Religious groups and community activists. Maybe I can sway some votes. I'm not in the political sphere. I'm not, so I'm not like a candidate. Maybe I wonder if it's legal if I do this. And I'm only using numbers that are real numbers that is posted by the government themselves. So like you would think the Biden administration would tell like the Department of Labor, like, hey, hold off on some shit here. But they don't look at this. They don't care. I don't think they realized it. The 8.8% of the black labor force is already unemployed, and they employ a greater percentage of the black labor force than any other job. Okay? And they're willing to say, y'all can go fuck yourselves if you don't get vaccinated. Thus, why we have rap songs about fuck Joe Biden. There are people that are literally saying stuff like this. I would never in a million years have thought like, wow, that guy's really getting red pilled on this. Dude, go get vaccinated.
Don't do that. Make your own personal choice.
Yes.
Do your own research. Understand what you're doing. And then make an educated choice. Don't just sit there and watch the news. Like, majority of the people I know who've been vaccinated, they sit there, they watch the news, they listen to the commercials, and they're like, oh, I should probably go get vaccinated. No, take the time, sit down, you've got a computer in your hand, do your own research, understand what you're getting yourself into, and then make a personal choice.
So, one thing I run into often with my job, when I meet with people, is with my license, I have to act as a fiduciary. Okay, I have to do whatever's in the best interest of the client. The problem is the fiduciary issue, like especially in finance. And my problem with my industry is that only goes so far, because sometimes what's in the best interest of the client isn't going to make me money, but they expect me to, give recommendations, even if I'm not being paid for the advice, right? That are I may not get paid. I'm 100% fine with that. I am out to help people, and I have told people before, like, sorry, you can't do this, or I can't help you, or you need to go do this, and I have not gotten paid for it. Okay? I'm okay with that. What I run into, though, is, and I want you to think about this, and people need to remember this. A product is, I'm trying to think of the way to state this. A fiduciary is only as good as the products they sell. Okay? So if you are talking to a financial advisor, because that's a very vague term, and they're recommending an insurance product, well, it may be the best product for you that advisor is allowed to sell. And I want to bring that back to the whole COVID deal, okay? Because let's say a doctor is going to hit you with a bunch of knowledge and try and talk you into getting vaccinated, because they're probably told to do that, right? The news, same thing. People on social media, same thing, because they're going to be censored. And wherever you're getting any information from, it's up to you to go do research, because you can meet with one advisor that sells you this insurance product from this company because they're allowed to sell it, and that's the only thing they have access to really sell, or they're limited in as far as their menu of products they can sell, right? So you tell them what your situation is, and they say, okay, well, yeah, this is going to work. But that doesn't mean it's the best thing for you. It's up to you to go and do the research and make the ultimate decision of moving forwards with something, whether it be something in finance or getting a vaccine or whatever, on your own, based off of, information you've gotten from a professional or what you've read about it. It's up to you. That's all we're saying, is that it should be your freedom and your right to make a determination on what you do with your body, because not having the vaccine does not affect someone else.
And you can't get the vaccine out once it's in.
Yeah.
Like, there's nothing you can do to change that.
Yeah.
Once you get it, it's game over.
If they put little fucking cell-eating robots in there, I'm fucked and Zach's good. Is what Zach's a conspiracy theorist, it sounds like.
No, I'm not a conspiracy
theorist. We have fucking
theorist.
Alex Jones Jr. over here. Goddamn. He thinks... Never mind. So, the next thing I want to say, and it relates a little bit to this topic of hearing things about the vaccine, like people pushing it on you, like the news or Joe Biden or whoever, go get the vaccine. It's going to, we got to protect our vaccinated from our unvaccinated. First of all, and I've expressed this before, you're separating two classes of people, making one better than the other, and that's not right, okay? But I can't stand, and also with the Gruden deal, all these people that are saying, oh my God, Gruden offended so many people, shouldn't have done this, he shouldn't have, blah, blah, whether he should have or should not have, okay? I can't stand people like Stephen A. Smith or Shannon Sharp or the countless numbers of others. Pat McAfee fell into this trap a little bit too, because he was talking about all the people that offended. Now, he didn't say, that other people haven't done this, blah, blah, but they are, and everyone on like YouTube, and I've said this before, and Zach, I'll tell you too, because you're kind of new on this, okay? This show is about speaking your mind and what you think, okay? We will refrain from certain things and be respectable to everyone, okay? But I'm not going to sit here and bullshit people because of what Facebook may say or what YouTube may do, whatever. That is not the point of why I've done this. I started this because I had issues on, I wanted to talk on that I felt strongly about. And what justice am I doing to myself or anyone else by holding it in? But when you have like people on YouTube and these talk show hosts, Zach, that are saying, Stephen A. Smith was talking about Gruden will never work again. Blah, blah, blah. It was terrible what he did. And I remember like 2 months ago, Stephen A. Smith said something very fucking similar about a certain Asian baseball player, okay, that is the best player in the major leagues right now, about how he couldn't be the face of the major leagues because he didn't speak English and he was an American. And he had to go on and apologize and everything like that. Okay? But John Gruden says the word faggot 5 years ago in a private email. And the guy loses his job over it and will never work again. And you people like Stephen A. Smith who have said shit just like that before, okay, and borderline racist things and all that, and Shannon Sharp and all of them, okay, and they're only saying because, they work for ESPN, they don't want to get fired, that they're controlled by that money, or they don't want to get demonetized on YouTube or anything like that, okay, and I can't stand it. Because they're going to speak their mind all the way up into a point where they know, that's going to get me. I can't admit that I've done this before. I can't, I can't forgive them or show them a little bit of compassion, and forgiveness because it may get me kicked off YouTube or it may get me fired or whatever. I can't stand that. And this goes for a lot of people that fall in this trap. People that I agree with politically won't go down a certain road. They're just they'll refrain from saying certain things, like the John Gruden thing. Like, honestly, if you're gonna tell me you haven't said pussy, faggot, or queer, you're a damn liar.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, I know I could probably very confidently say that most football coaches, not just NFL, football coaches have used those words.
No, I'm not even saying in football. I'm talking about everyone.
Oh, okay.
Everyone at some point has said something, maybe not along those three words, but has said something in the past that would get them in trouble right now.
Oh, yeah. There's a lot you can't say nowadays without getting in trouble.
Joe Biden, back in the 70s and 80s, said some very racist shit, about black people. In fact, there was like a whole thing with him and either another black representative or Supreme Court guy. Like they went back and forth, like they had this whole dispute back in the day, okay? But we forgive him. Why aren't we firing his ass over it? For something he did 20 years ago. You know why? Because let's say people change. Okay, for one. That was a long time ago. And I mean, it's just, but we're going to fire Gruden and hammer him and everyone else. And people are going to speak on this. The best thing should have been for Shannon Sharp and Stephen A. Smith to do? Not acknowledge it. No, they didn't acknowledge really the Simone Biles thing. I don't think that Shannon Sharp I don't even think him and Skip Bayless even had an episode after the Simone Biles deal at the Olympics.
Well, that's probably because it got so much attention everywhere else.
But that's the whole point, is they argue and talk about it and agree with it. You know what they did? They had the woman on their show talk, and that was the only person that made an opinion on it. So it's like, okay, you're a woman, we're going to leave the opinion up to you because, you can relate, whatever it is, okay? And they didn't speak on it. And I think I know why Shannon Sharp didn't speak on it, because I'm not speaking for Shannon Sharp, but I think Shannon Sharp may have agreed that she quit on her team. I think a lot of people did, but they didn't express that opinion. Why? It wasn't the common belief, or it wasn't the common expressed belief. In my opinion, you go to the Olympics and you start the competition. It's a team competition, right? She's in the middle of it. Like we're at halftime. And she quit. For whatever reason. Head reasons, whatever it may be. I'm not saying she didn't have a problem. I'm saying that she could have, if she had a head issue, she knew beforehand. And if she didn't start the competition, people would have said things, but no one really they would have understood. I would have understood. Like, okay, you didn't start the game. You gave your team a time to fill your position and figure out what the fuck they're going to do. But to sit there and do it in the middle of the competition, okay, then you make the comment to your teammate, I've been to the Olympics. You go and enjoy yourself. Like it wasn't a big deal. Like, oh, I've done this. I won my gold medals. You go and have fun. Bitch, I'm trying to get a gold medal too. I need your help.
Yeah, I didn't. That whole situation, first off, it's a very tender topic nowadays.
I don't care.
Well, I know you don't care. I'm just saying I'm just stating that fact. It's a very tender topic nowadays. I didn't agree with what you did either. I've played sports my entire life. And I was a gymnast. Granted, I was a gymnast when I was younger, and I get that. There's a big difference between when you're young and when you're at the Olympics. Mm-hmm. I get it. And she's probably been through a whole heck of a lot as far as mental fatigue, if you will, or a mental beating, whatever you want to call it. But at that age and at that level of athleticism, there are certain things that you have to push past. Now, I played college football, and I played with you, and you know firsthand some of the things that were said to me in the locker room, on the field. There were some very, very over-the-top things that were said to me throughout my college. And this is just college, not high school. But I knew that if I wanted to play the sport and I wanted to help my team the best way that I knew how, I had to push past that fact. I had to push past the mental beatings and the mental abuse and the words and, so on and so forth to be able to continue to play my sport to the best of my ability. For somebody to go, and not just in a regular standard competition, but the top end competition, the competition, not for the U.S., for the world, and to just dip out because of a mental problem that she stated she had is unacceptable.
So, there's a good example of if a man did this and it would be different, right? You remember Vontae Davis in the NFL?
Yeah.
He played for the Bills, cornerback.
Yeah.
At halftime, he didn't come back out of the locker room and didn't tell anyone. He took his shit off and left the stadium and tweeted, "I'm done. I retire." And he started and was playing in the game. I think he gave up a touchdown right before the half. His reasoning was, I realized in that game I didn't have it anymore, that I had lost it. Like, he was getting older, whatever, and he said, "I'm done." He quit on his team. They fried his ass over that. Shannon Sharp got up there. I remember watching the episode and talked about how fucked up it was that he did that to his team. 2 years later, 1 or 2 years later, we have similar issue. Because I would say Vontae Davis was struggling from some kind of mental issue at the time. Okay. And now it's okay in the middle of a competition. Again, if she did it afterwards, before the individual start, like finish a team event and didn't do good. If she did bad.
But wait, you said finish the team event.
Yes.
Like that's it. That as an athlete, she should have finished the team event. It's not about going and doing her individual events. It's not about that. It's about the team because she was participating with the team.
Yes.
It was not this is the Simone Biles show and we do whatever she does. No, it was Team USA is performing right now. They are competing with the rest of the world to try and win gold.
Now, being devil's advocate, because obviously I agree, her reasoning was I didn't want to hurt the team because of my performance, so I chose to do that. But she actually hurt the team because the team had to pull someone that wasn't ready to fill in, I believe, okay? To like, hey, oh shit, you gotta go. This isn't like football where it's like, your backup, your starter gets hurt, backup goes in, and he's literally, prepared at any time, knowing like I may have to go in.
You remember? I forget how many years ago it was, but I think we were in college. UT had this issue. It was with a kicker.
They got him out of the stands.
They didn't pull him out of the stands. They pulled him out of a frat house.
Yes, and he was drunk.
Partying. Yes, he was partying, and police escorted him to the stadium because he was their only option.
Yes.
That is the same concept as what happened.
Yeah.
Except that the girl was probably not intoxicated. She was probably better.
No, she was there. She's a little more ready than that guy.
Right. She was a little bit
more. It was
more
a little
ready.
less of a situation. That guy went and did it. But so did the girl. She filled in too. So we're not, like the person that was the replacement.
Not bashing.
Took it fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
And someone didn't quit. I believe the kicker actually got hurt.
He did. He got hurt. It was an injury.
Yeah. So it's a little bit different, but you're right. But what I'm saying is that you hurt the team if the kicker. It would be like the kicker saying, damn, this is a really high-pressure situation. I'm fucked up in the head. I can't do it.
Yep.
But he's physically able to in the middle of the game, right? Like at the end of the game, and all of a sudden, they got to take a timeout, a fucking really long timeout, to go get this, sober this other dude up and go get it, right? That's not expecting it. That would be like trying to make it the same. But the fact is that people aren't going to express their actual opinions and how they really feel about things because people will take it too serious. People want to cancel them.
Well, people don't know how to. You remember when we were younger? You learn the little rhyme: "Sticks and stones will break my bones, but words will never hurt me." People have forgotten that phrase. People now take words that people like you and me say, and they take those to heart. So, like us talking about Simone Biles, some random Joe Schmo out there would take our words of basically saying that she shouldn't have done what she did to heart, and they'll be like, "Why are you being so insensitive?"
Well, I'm
not being insensitive. That's just my opinion.
Well, they say you don't know what it's like to be at her level, because she's huge. Huge icon,
don't
right?
disagree. She is.
You're right, but let me say this, okay? While most people don't have millions of eyes watching them perform every day. Mental health is an issue. I'm not denying. Mental health is a big issue.
Massive.
Okay? So I'm not taking away from the fact that something was wrong with her. All I'm saying...
She should have stepped back before she started.
Yes. Because she knew, right?
She had to have known.
She did. She would have known. And because we all know that she went through a lot with the whole sexual assault deal with the trainer and all that. Like, really fucked up shit went on. Like, she has had a tough life. I'm not taking that away. And I respect her for that, right? It was just because of that and the look that she gave and the statements that she made and how she made them. Okay? But going back to what I was going to say is there's a lot of people that go to work every day that suck it up, all right, and have to... What is more stressful? Sucking it up, going to a job, knowing that you have to get paid to provide for your family, okay? Or having millions of eyes on you, watching you compete at the Olympics, that if you fuck up, the worst thing that happens is you don't win a medal.
Well,
a medal that you've already won like 10 of.
Well, I mean, and you'll probably get bad mouth and so on and so forth. But again, but the bad mouthing, and okay, the name Naomi Osaka, you know that is, right? I think so.
Professional tennis player, the Japanese girl. She, I think, is done with tennis now, and she's young. She was like the up and coming tennis player. She's winning the championships and everything. Same thing with her. She didn't want to talk to the media. Now, Naomi Osaka wore all the black people that have been killed by the police officers. She wore their names on a mask at one of the opens. Okay? So she is okay, and Black Lives Matter and all that stuff, she's okay with drawing the attention and being around the controversy. She only didn't want to talk to the media when she was fucking losing or when she lost. I'll cry my eyes out for losing. I'm extremely competitive, okay? But don't be okay with talking to the media when you won and then talk about how you're so, mentally ill and have these issues only when you're losing and doing bad. Everyone does bad. Okay, that's a part of it. So it's the same thing that the look that Simone Biles gave was like, she's used to doing everything perfect all the time and winning. She wore the GOAT leotard, right? and she's a self-proclaimed GOAT and everything like that. And she probably is the best of all time. I don't know.
She's pretty damn good.
But she did all that leading up to the Olympics, and all of a sudden she has a bad showing, and she's like, oh shit. That's where it's like, so anyone can perform when they're doing good, right? Imagine Tom Brady going out against the Atlanta Falcons in the Super Bowl, being down 28-3, and saying, fuck, I'm hurt, or something like that, or I'm done. I can't, sorry guys, my head's not in the game. Instead of coming out, the difference between Tom Brady and Simone Biles is Tom Brady comes out and makes the greatest comeback of all time.
Well, no, I agree he did that, but the difference between Tom Brady and Simone Biles is that Tom Brady, he is an athlete who knows how to deal with the pressure.
Yeah.
He knows how to deal with the pressure, not when he's winning, not that pressure. He knows how to deal with the pressure when you're losing. And to be able to deal with pressure when you're losing takes a different type of athlete.
Or handle it when you've lost.
Or that. Or handle a loss, understand what it is, and grow from the loss. Not allow the loss to sit there and consume you and you feel pity for yourself.
Yeah. Because a lot of people get scrutinized. Like unfortunately, being scrutinized is just something, being a celebrity or a professional athlete, that's just a part of it. Like if you play in the NFL, you have to talk to the media.
Yep.
Okay? You get people like Marshawn Lynch that he didn't want to talk to the media, not because he doesn't like talking or he's shy, because we know he's not, but because they're being assholes and saying shit that put out of context, right? So that's the problem. So it can be a media issue, and we may treat it, way more than what it is. Like, I may be a little hard on Simone Biles, and I should be. I'm just giving my opinion, right? And people like me are what contributed to her doing that as well. So we're at fault, but at the same time, it has to be expected.
Well, I agree with you. Maybe she did get a little too much bashing for what happened. But, again, I'm going to go back and say the same thing again. As an athlete at that level, you know how you're feeling. You know what's going on in your own personal life.
Yeah.
And like we both said, we're not downplaying anything that happened to her. I am not saying that she did not have a hard career. She's had a tough career. Very tough career. But out of everything that she knew beforehand, before the team event started, I'm not talking about individual. The team event. Team is not one person.
Yeah.
She should have stepped up beforehand and said, okay, I have something going on up here that I just cannot shake, have not been able to shake it. I can't do this.
Well, let me stop you. You're saying after the team event, she also... let's remember, she went back and competed in the individual event.
Oh yeah, no, I know. She came right back.
So there, it's like, really,
right?
But moving on from not the topic, but her specifically, and I've said this, the Sha'Carri Richardson, you know who that is, right? Yeah. The track star,
who got blown away.
Yeah, well, she did in the race, yeah. But going back to the Olympic trials. Okay, she wins, blows everyone away in the Olympic trials, is either favored or close to favored to win a gold medal at the Olympics at that time, smokes weed, gets caught, gets suspended from the Olympics, okay? Now, she knew what the consequences were. Yep. At first, I was like, that's fucked up, like, it's fucking weed, but...
Rules are rules.
Rules are rules, and let me say this, no one else in that race got caught smoking, okay? Now, they say, oh, she did it because her mom passed away. I'm not saying that she didn't do it because her mom passed away. I'm saying that I think she was doing it regardless of that. Okay? I don't think that this was the only time she did, but let's just give her the benefit of the doubt and say she was, that was her way of coping with the passing of her mom. How do we know that another person out race also didn't have a mom or dad die? They didn't report on any of that. They only reported on her because she was the big star. Okay? And she's the one that got caught breaking the rules. No one else broke the rules. But they could have been coping with their own individual issues.
Right.
Okay? What makes a professional athlete great isn't just how they perform on the field, but decisions they make off the field. Okay? It's how they handle the pressure. Mm-hmm. How they handle me talking shit in my stupid opinion. how they, are able to put that aside, do the right thing off the field that allows them to then be on the field. Because you hear it all the time. They say, I've heard McAfee and Shannon Sharp all say, your best ability is availability, like in sports or the NFL or something like that. They're saying they're referring to being injured, not getting hurt and being available for the game. But that also goes back to not getting in trouble or suspended. Anything that's going to interfere with you playing or your performance on the field.
Right, because when you play a team sport, if you do something off the field that gets you suspended, hurt, whatever it may be, you're not hurting yourself.
Exactly.
You're hurting the team.
Yep.
And that is something that has been preached to me since day one of playing sports.
Yeah.
Don't do something that's going to hurt the team.
But even in an individual sport, it's the same thing, okay? It's the decisions you make off the field or off the track carry over and show themselves on the field.
Yep.
Every once in a while you'll see people with off the field issues perform extremely good on the field, but eventually it catches up to them. No, most of the time.
Yeah.
Okay, or it shows on the field. So, that's just how I feel about it, and I just wanted to go into that because I don't want to censor the certain opinions that I have because I'm worried about, what a social media site will think or what other people will think. Like, literally the whole point of why I started this podcast is just to express my opinion. Okay? Like, I have the right to do that.
Well, and the cool thing is that everybody listening to this has the right and the choice
to shut it off.
Right.
And you can comment and say, Michael, you're a fucking asshole. You're wrong. And that's fine. You can do that. In fact, I have not, like on Facebook or anything, I have not censored any liberal that wants to come on and talk shit, anything. I'm going to let it go.
And what's funny is that sometimes these people might be right.
Yeah.
They could be. That's everybody has their own opinions. Everybody does their own research, and that's the great thing about living where we live. You can have your own opinion, and you can share it whenever you want to.
Yeah, and here, let me say this too. When we want to censor people, all right, and we want to shut them up, you understand? When you censor people, first of all, it's just going to piss them off, and they're going to start thinking more extreme on topic, like on their opinion. Like, it's not going to sway their opinion the other way or to agree with you or whoever's doing the censoring. Like, canceling Dave Chappelle because he said trans pussy was like beyond pussy, which is funny as shit. Canceling him isn't going to stop him from thinking that, right? It's actually going to piss him off more and want to hit at you more, like pick at you more. And why would you want to censor people like this? Why wouldn't you want to hear what they have to say? I've always said this. Would you rather be walking in the woods, okay, and see a snake out in the open and know where that venomous snake is, or be walking in the woods and have it covered up, hidden and camouflaged, and you may step on it? What's better?
That is a heck of an analogy. Heck of an analogy. So right.
You like that one?
Oh, I like that one. That was spot on.
Because I've stepped on a snake before in real life, not knowing it was there, okay, and gotten bit. Luckily, and it was a venomous one. Luckily, it didn't, get me. Like, but I would if I knew it was there, I wouldn't have stepped on it. I would have avoided it.
Right. But then again, I love your analogy, but you got to remember, a lot of people nowadays, they don't want to do that. A lot of people, they want that attention. They want that. They crave that conflict, which I think is a problem.
And here's the other fault of that logic. Okay, if someone is talking shit, or what you think is shit, okay, me per se, if I am an extremist, if you think I'm whatever, okay, first of all, it's like an alcoholic. You can only address alcoholism if you admit you have it, right? How can you have any kind of progress with anyone when you don't even know what they think? Because all you're doing when you censor everyone, now you either let's say you have 5% of the white population is racist. Let's hypothetically, okay? And they're saying bad shit, and you censor them. Bam. Well, now you have to assume that all of them are racist. If you want to try and fix racism.
Yep.
You have to go to everyone and address it, right? If you want to make any kind of change. Instead of knowing who they are and going to them.
That's the problem. That's the problem with it's like I can't think of the exact way to say it, but the best way I can say it is that's the hive mind ideology of, hey, here we all are. We should all think the same.
Mm-hmm. We're not going to. In fact, that's what makes the United States great.
Right.
Checks and balances. That's why we have the way our government system runs, right? So we have a two-party system, but not everyone in those two parties agrees with each other, right? You have different viewpoints, you have different opinions.
Right.
Okay. Creativity, it drives innovation. The freedom of expression, the freedom of thought is what drives innovation. Okay. So just if you don't have that, like in Russia or other authoritarian places, you don't have innovation. Yeah, great example. You can't express anything, right? You can't build anything. You can't be efficient. Freedom of expression, no matter how bad or good it is, okay, is what drives progress. Censoring goes backwards. So we're going to leave you with that. We'll be back on tomorrow. Again, these podcasts are uploaded on like 7 or 8 different platforms, iTunes, Spotify. You can also get the links on Facebook. Go join the Facebook page, Real Conservative Talk, and have a good night.